Hi, I'm Fernando. I'm making an accurate one-to-one scale recreation of the vehicle assembly building in Minecraft. This is the largest building in the world by volume, and it's where NASA have built every rocket that they've ever made. So stick around to get an insight into my research and design process, and make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future discoveries. So things are starting to look pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this, and up here at the top of the transoms, by my count, this is floor 14. And that was pretty good and I was really happy until I watched some videos on YouTube. So here I could see them hopping into the elevator and looking really closely at the numbers on it. So I can see they're at floor 1 at the moment. If we skip forward a little bit, we can see they're going up through the floors, all the way up to floor 16. So walking out on floor 16, I can see them coming out here, looking around the corner, and this is definitely the top of the transoms, and it's a place that we can see on Google Street View. So here in Google Street View, we're at the top of the transoms, and looking through here, you can see the elevators that they've just come out of this place here. So this is definitely floor 16. So they're definitely coming out of here, which means this is floor 16, which is a problem because this is 14. So that means floor 16 is actually here. But the problem with that is if we look over here and we flick back to Google Street View, so over in Google Street View, we can see the bridge going across here, which is great, but the roof of the low bay is above us. And looking over here, it looks like, so if we're on 16, that's 17, the roof of the low bay is just below 18, which doesn't line up at all with what I've made in Minecraft. Right, so here, it looks pretty good, but actually it's all on the wrong floor because that's 15, 16, 17. It basically needs to be up here, which is quite different. If we just click our way through here, we can see that actually the low bay is supposed to be here, which is quite a bit higher. It's really unfortunate that the original 3D model that we based everything on and we based our exterior on was so far out of proportion. So the only solution at this point is to raise things up and rework things. So if we're going to fix the height of the low bay, I think there's a little bit of a laundry list of some other things that need to be fixed as well. So it might be a good chance to address some of these bits up here because I'm not really sure that there's supposed to be quite as many walkways, or at least when I planned these out and I built these back in the first episode, I actually didn't know that Google Street View went inside this building. So it really was just a guess. But now I've got a pretty good idea of exactly what these are. Also, it's a good opportunity to get rid of these towers and fix them up because they don't really exist. And that means I can stretch out these and make them just a little bit wider because there'll be a little bit more room. So another thing I can do is, now we've got Google Street View, if we're going to be reworking all of these, we might as well take a bit of a stock take and actually work out how many segments there are, just to confirm that we are correct, as well as which of these segments should have walls in them and which of them should be open, as well as maybe some of them don't even have as much framing as other ones. So let's get a little bit more detailed and take a bunch of notes and observations inside Google Street View and draw up a map of everything that we need to know to build these transoms and towers properly. So I made this map based on careful observations in Street View. On this map, you can see I've got my floor 4 to floor 5. I've started to put in where there are segments. Over here, you can see I'm marking kind of where each catwalk is, as well as where the crane is, so I can get that in the right position. All the way up the top, you can see I'm also marking kind of where each door to those central bridges across the transfer aisle is. Down here, you can see I'm even putting individual pieces where there are gaps or kind of partially filled segments inside each of these towers. And then all the way up, you can see I've actually worked out that there are effectively 42 floors, and that must be exactly where the roof is. Okay, so let me show you through all of the changes that I've made. So here, the low bay, I've raised it up to the correct height. If we come inside, we'll be able to see the changes in the low bay. So it goes up a lot higher now, as well as I've reworked this framing. So it's a lot more even. Over here, you can see I've got rid of that little staircase tower. I've done that on both sides, and I've been able to stretch out these buildings inside the low bays, which means these ones moved out by 1 and these ones moved out by 2, and then the same thing over here. So they're looking a bit better. I also have raised up these transoms to 1 segment higher, or 2 floors higher, so this now is the 16th floor. So here I've filled out the segments inside each of the towers and the transoms based on that map. And I had to move the positions of these bridges to line up with the design, as well as over here I've started to put in just some potential service shaft, bit of cabling, bit of end rods and some lightning rods, and just working through what these will look like. So I'm pretty happy with what this is looking like now. There's a lot of rework that will need to be done in survival, but there was anyway. So still to do is to map out this side of the towers and the transoms, and it's actually not quite as easy to see this side in Google Street View, but I've found a few videos on YouTube where people have wandered around a bit and taken some footage, so I've got enough that I can splice it together and just work out exactly what these look like. So here you can see there's bits where there's framing missing and bits where it's filled in or not filled in, as well as kind of fixing the overall height of this thing so that there's enough room for the high bay cranes, but I think that's a topic of a future video. So we'll leave it there for today. As always, if you've got any ideas, encouragement or feedback, just let me know, and have a great day.
Yeah.